UFC Fight Night, Derrick Lewis and Teixeira just wrapped up, and we're going to break down every single fight that took place on this card. Lighter man skill prevailed. However, we do have a new prospect at heavyweight. The Walker brother is a problem. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Stephen Thompson. Did he get robbed? We'll talk about Derrick Lewis's early stoppage. Honestly, it's kind of amazing how uncontroversial this is. I mean, listen, when I say that, I mean, like, there's a lack of backlash from the fans, and that's obviously because nobody cares about Tallison Teixeira. He is 2 fights deep into his UFC career. Derrick Lewis, the KO record holder. Everyone likes Derrick Lewis, and he gets the KO here, but I picked him to win. I got to say that. I just couldn't have picked Tallison Teixeira. He looks like a flyweight trapped in a heavyweight's body. He's got the face, he's got the head of a flyweight, but he is in this Stefan Struve-like frame. But I went with Derrick Lewis because I was just like, man, you know, it's so easy to just beat these fat Tafas types, you know? But Derrick Lewis, he may be fat, but he's actually fast, he's dangerous, he's got that experience, and there's going to be that KO record aura that he has. And either way, it was a fun fight while it lasted, but let's just be honest. This was an extremely early stoppage. I know that Tallison Teixeira grabbed the fence, but listen, man, he was throwing a fucking punch when the ref stepped in. I thought that he was out. I thought he was screwed. As soon as he got dropped and Derrick Lewis started getting ready to land some ground and pound shots, because usually Derrick Lewis has some really good ground and pound, but he was okay. Tallison Teixeira did not get worse. He only seemed to have gotten better since getting knocked down. Like, he was building back up. It was a awful stoppage, but you know what? It is what it is. I don't think he was going to win anyway, but you never know. But Derrick Lewis gets it done. People are saying Derrick Lewis versus Aspinall. I mean, the only fighter that I can't think of Derrick Lewis having not fought, it's probably been Aspinall, right? But you're just not going to do that. We're not doing the DC versus Derrick Lewis meme part 2. Okay, so Derrick Lewis is going to fight someone else, maybe a rematch. I'd like to see him versus Volkov. That would actually be good. Him versus Volkov. Give Volkov a chance to get that one back. He was beating up Derrick Lewis back in the day, but, you know, he's improved quite a bit, or maybe Derrick Lewis chins him. We'll see. I think that's a good fight. Stephen Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. I picked Stephen Thompson. And I do have to say, this was a close fight. So I don't think I had a bad pick. I picked Stephen Thompson based on the fact that nobody can really control him and submit him on the ground, other than maybe Shavkat. But you look at Buckley, he wasn't able to do anything to Stephen Thompson. I didn't think Gabriel Bonfim was the level of grappler that was at the Shavkat level or even the Bilal level, and I was thinking he'll get him down, but he won't do anything with it. And I think that Stephen Thompson will win the striking exchanges. And he won a couple. He actually had a moment where he rocked Gabriel Bonfim, and we never see Stephen Thompson rocking anybody because he has the power of a pipsqueak. Okay? Let's just be honest. Stephen Thompson doesn't hit hard. He doesn't kick hard. But he had one moment where he rocked Gabriel Bonfim, but I was actually banking on Stephen Thompson being a little bit harder to hit and doing a little bit better on the feet. But actually, it's clear to me that this was a washed up Stephen Thompson. Now, has Stephen Thompson been not washed up? I mean, I would even argue that in his last fight, he was sort of washed up. But I think it's clear and more clear than it's ever been before that Stephen Thompson is the worst he ever was last night. And that's why I think Gabriel Bonfim had some success. I don't think this is a robbery. I think that Bonfim, he won the first round. He arguably won the third round. Stephen Thompson just didn't really do a whole lot in the third round, you know? And this is the thing. Thompson used to be so much faster, used to have a lot more output, used to be way harder to hit. Now you got a Gabriel Bonfim who's just sort of easily tagging him up when he wants, right? I mean, Bonfim was cracking Stephen Thompson, countering Stephen Thompson hard. He was willing to eat a couple of shots to land his own because he knows Thompson didn't have any power. And either way, I don't think he would have had the same success if we saw prime Stephen Thompson in there. But I was still not surprised that it was a close fight. Either way, Thompson is washed, and I think he should retire because he's just going to lose to everyone that he would have beaten even a couple of years ago. So Yeah, Thompson loses. I didn't think he won. He hardly even won the second round. Let's just be honest about that. Like, Thompson got rocked as well in the second round. He got hurt as well. Honestly, you could make an argument that he didn't win a single round. Maybe you're going to give him the second, but I think that this is a lot of people giving some pity to Stephen Thompson. It's a pity robbery take. I don't think he got robbed. Listen, I picked him. So if anyone would be biased, it's someone that would pick him, but I don't think he won that fight. Okay, Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. Is Calvin Kattar washed, or is Steve Garcia just the new era? I think a little bit of both. I think Steve Garcia, he's always going to be a problem for good strikers because he's got a really long reach. He's 6 foot for the featherweight division. That's very tall. Very long reach. Hits hard as well. Good kicking game. I picked him to win this by KO. I thought it might get interesting in the later rounds, but Calvin Kattar just doesn't have half the speed that he did back in the day. He is kind of washed. So, yeah, like, he really didn't do shit in this fight. Had a couple of gritty, scrappy moments, but, you know, I'm also just going to say this. I can't believe at one time, and I know that Calvin Kattar's performance last night was not his level that he showed us when he was fighting guys like Jeremy Stevens or even Max Holloway, or, I mean, I should just say Zabit. That was actually a good performance for him, or the performance that he had against Giga Chikadze. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like even those versions of Calvin Kattar weren't that great. We used to say this was like one of the best boxers in the UFC. And I just can't. I mean, maybe I should go back and watch his old fights, but yeah, man. I mean, here's the thing. I will say this. When I was watching Kattar lose to Steve Garcia, I was like, man, would Kattar ever be able to beat Steve Garcia? Like, Kattar's not that good. But then I remembered that he was giving problems to Zabit, who had a really well-rounded striking game, very versatile with what he could do with his kicks and his punches, high output. And if Kattar could deal with that in the later rounds in his prime, then I feel like he could deal with Steve Garcia as well. But either way, this is the new era. Steve Garcia isn't even at his prime yet, but yeah. Let's get on to the next one. Morgan Chedier, Nate Landwehr. I gotta say, Morgan Chedier, despite the fact that he won, I just don't think he's that good. And I picked him to win this fight, but I think he's super overrated, and I think I'm one of the people that have been overrating him for a while. Like, sure, he got this KO. He sort of needed the KO in the third round. He was losing that second round real badly. Nate Landwehr was starting to come on strong after dropping the first. Landwehr was putting a whooping on him in that second. But I feel like with Morgan Chedier, I remember seeing him fight, I forget the guy's name, Sheppy Mariscal, and he had a really impressive performance. But then again, Sheppy Mariscal is a short reach. When Morgan Chedier's fighting someone with like a normal to long reach, he really struggles. And I feel like if he can't get in super close range and have a fuck it moment where he's just like going for broke like he did in the third round against Nate Landwehr, if he doesn't have one of those moments and he's forced to be in a tit for tat battle, I actually don't think he's that great. Like, he's got good takedown defense. He's fast, but he doesn't have a great jab. He's like a guy that swings hooks first, and they're like tight hooks, but you can't really utilize that well in like a tit-for-tat range battle. And so you had Nate Landwehr sort of piecing him up in the second round, sitting behind his jab. And yeah, I thought that this was going to be a lot easier for Morgan Chedier. I thought Morgan was going to school him, but yeah, he wins via a must-get KO. He needed that KO. Good KO for him. I really wanted Nate Landwehr to win after seeing him have that successful second round. Morgan Chedier needed that. It was a sad TKO. It was very sad, but let's get on to Vitor Petrino versus Austin Lane. Lighter man skill. Now, I know some people are going to be saying, stop it with the lighter man skill, man. Valter Walker proved lighter man skill wrong, man. Just because you have one guy doing really well when he is fighting a former lighter weight class guy doesn't disprove lighter man skill. Like, that, he's an exception to the norm, okay? But this is what normally happens. This is the 99% of cases where you have two guys in different divisions meeting. And Vitor Petrino absolutely mauled Austin Lane. And here's the thing. You could say, well, Austin Lane sucks. Well, Austin Lane sucks on the feet because he has no chin and he's terrible at striking, and so he usually gets KO'd. But this was not Vitor Petrino just KOing Austin Lane because he's got no chin. Vitor Petrino took him down, utilized the grappling skill advantage that light heavyweights have, and absolutely mauled and destroyed and submitted Austin Lane. Okay? So, yeah, good performance for Vitor Petrino, and I've never seen Vitor Petrino win that easily. That was the easiest performance of his entire career. Oh, it happened to be against a fucking heavyweight. Tuco Tokkos. I picked Tuco Tokkos to win. Listen, I thought that the Tafa picks were awful. The Tafa picks were awful. You can't pick Justin Tafa because he's got abs now. Okay, but like, where's his skill at? You think that him just dropping a couple of fucking pounds is a couple of fucking mass pieces of blub is going to make him a better fighter all of a sudden? He's stepping down into a weight class where he's used to fighting fat tubby tubbies. Now he's fighting guys that are a little bit more speedy. Okay? And Justin Tafa, I swear this guy got tipped over in one of his heavyweight fights with ease and like destroyed on the ground as well. Or maybe that was Justin Tafa, Junior Tafa. One of these guys got destroyed on the ground. Tafa's had some just god-awful performances at heavyweight. And even though Tuco Tokkos is not that good, he's gotten KO'd by Zhang Meng Yang. Okay, that's not necessarily an indication that he sucks for a 15-minute scrap or he can't do anything. And then he got beat up by the guy that trains out of City Kickboxing, but, you know, that guy's a promising prospect. The point that I was making when I picked Tuco Tokkos is he doesn't need to be good. He just needs to be mid. He needs to be a mid, well-rounded light heavyweight. And that's exactly what he is. He's a well-rounded, mid-everywhere light heavyweight. And I said he was going to get this one done by mixing it up, mixing in the takedowns, being a little bit gritty, maybe getting a finish on the ground. I picked Tuco Tokkos, and I'm happy that he won. People were really buying into the Junior Tafa, as if this was his fucking second UFC fight after his debut where he had like a nice KO. You know, we've been knowing Junior Tafa wasn't good, but you guys were picking him because he was lean and... Dude, lean and mean doesn't mean you're going to win, okay? Especially when you're dropping down into a weight class, because here's the thing. People that are lean and mean, that are used to fighting in a weight class, they're fast. They're used to rocking with that speed. Guys that are getting lean, they have to suffer to get down there. It's the first time they've ever been there, and now they're fighting people that are fast, and they still haven't shaken off the heavyweight cobwebs yet. It's lighter man skill, okay? Straight up, dude. Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. I picked Chris Curtis to win this. He gets it done. Not the best fight. Chris Curtis was, acting like this was freaking Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald too after the fight. Like, I don't know, man. Both of these guys had the type of energy that you would see after a Joshua Van and Brandon Royval fight. Like, it was not that great. It was okay. It was an okay fight. Chris Curtis forced Max Griffin to actually throw hands because he put the pressure on him. Max Griffin did all right. I have to say, this is an old, washed-up version of Curtis. I keep saying this. There were a lot of fighters that are getting washed, and they're on this card. Curtis, Wonderboy, like, these are not the prime versions of these guys that we were seeing. But either way, Chris Curtis wins with the body shots, second, third round, loses the first. Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njokuani. I got this one wrong. I picked Chidi Njokuani to get this one done by a finish or just a dominant decision with the striking. But, man, Jake Matthews did just about the only thing he could have done to win this fight, which was force the grappling. He got a takedown, took Chidi's back. Chidi stood up, and Jake Matthews was able to choke him out. Really good performance from Jake Matthews, only 30 years old. But hey, I guess that's what Matthews is actually consistent at. I mean, his striking has never been totally consistent. He's always been technical on the feet, but he's never been able to have consistent good performances on the feet. His grappling is always something that he can pull out that always has worked pretty well for him. And this is a big win. I think he was the underdog going into this fight. Most people, I assume, picked Chidi Njokuani because of the fact that he's been having some really impressive performances recently. But Jake Matthews gets it done by submission. Great win for Jake Matthews. I'd like to see him get a bump up in competition. Lauren Murphy versus Eduardo Mora. got to tip the cap to Lauren Murphy. She's a tough cookie. So Lauren Murphy is retired, and I would be lying if I said I didn't shed a couple of tears, okay? I was watching this. I was talking to Magomed's manager because I was hanging out with Mag, and his manager is a big Lauren Murphy fan. Yo, it's funny because like his manager knows all the Lauren Murphy lore. He's like, brother, Lauren Murphy, the 2018 versus Shevchenko, she was so destroyed, but so tough and gritty. And I said, yeah, man, she's the bad cookie. And we were just chopping it up about Lauren Murphy lore, Lauren Murphy fights. And yeah, I mean, Eduardo Mora won. I forget by which method. I guess it was a decision or something like that. Yeah. I picked Eduardo Mora, but we were chopping. We were chopping it up on the couch, and I would be lying if I told you that me and Magomed's manager, Rizvan, weren't shedding tears for Lauren Murphy's retirement. And I'm not going to say it. I don't want to be throwing anyone under the bus, but Magomed may have been crying too. Mag, I'm sorry, Mag. He's going to kill me for this. But we may have been all crying for Lauren Murphy's retirement, so yeah, man, this is a special retirement, dude. I'm laughing because it's like, it's hard to admit that you were crying over something like this, you know, but like I was, man. I was crying. I was shedding tears. I'll be the first one to admit it. This is one that struck close to home. And oh man, that was so funny as fuck, dude. Oh my gosh, bro. All right, yo. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right, man. It was really a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful moment. And yeah, I will miss watching. All right, yo. All right, yo. All right, guys. Woo! Shit. All right, we're good. But I'm gonna miss watching Lauren Murphy fight. All right, yo. All right, we're chilling. Kenny Nizuchuku versus Valter Walker. I went with Kenny Nizuchuku. I said the Kenny Nizuchuku was going to get the win, and he was going to use his lighter man skill. He was going to be able to outstrike Valter Walker. And Valter Walker, via freak speed, freak technique, never before seen shit at heavyweight. I guess you have seen it before because he's done it in his last 2 fights. But you keep forgetting. You know what I mean? When you think of Valter Walker, you're thinking, he's got a couple subs. But, like, this is unbelievable what we're talking about. Like, if people try to use this as an example, this is a freak incident where a fat, plotty heavyweight beats the Speedy Gonzalez, like, high-output, long-rangey striker moving up. But I can't say Valter Walker's a fat, plotty heavyweight anymore. Because what is imprinted in my mind when I think of Valter Walker, when I'm picking a fight with Valter Walker in it, is that performance that he had against Lucas Bresky, where he was blubbering around the octagon, slugging himself forward like a walrus, getting outstruck by Lucas Bresky, who's got the build of an NBA. He's got the build of Luka Doncic if you were to inject Luka Doncic with enough estrogen to fill up a fucking house, okay? He's got the build of Luka Doncic if you were to feed him nothing but donuts, inject him with estrogen, and have him run marathons simultaneously because he's going to have to stress his body out. Okay? Like, Valter Walker lost to him. And I just can't pick him to win against Kennedy Nzechukwu. But then he goes out there and he gets a truly not even lighter man, like Demetrius Johnson-esque type of submission. It's like he gets the heel hook. It's a heel hook. But the way he got it, like the speed at which he latched onto it, how smooth the transition was, it was unbelievable. I have to say that was one of the most impressive submissions I've ever seen, ever. Okay? Like, the way that this guy did it, I don't think that, like, I guess what I'm saying is this. The level of speed, how smooth, perfect technique, seamless transition, that shit would have worked on Islam Makhachev, okay? Obviously, maybe not, but like, I guess what I'm saying is like, this is not a submission that Valter Walker got just because these like bigger guys aren't ready for it. Like that shit literally could have worked on a flyweight, a bantamweight, because it was just perfect. Perfect technique, perfect setup, caught him by surprise. This shit is really impressive, and I'd like to see Valter Walker have a big jump up in competition. This was a jump up in competition. This was a huge jump up in competition. He went from fighting Junior Tafa to Kennedy Nzechukwu types, and Kennedy Nzechukwu was on a good win streak. And not only did he get the submission, but before he got the submission, he rocked Kennedy Nzechukwu. I'm totally forgetting about it. It's all coming back to me now. He rocked Kennedy Nzechukwu badly. He was out on his feet. And he shoots a takedown. And despite the fact that I picked Kennedy Nzechukwu, I'm sitting there watching the fight. I'm saying, what a fucking idiot. I literally said it out loud. I said, what the fuck are you doing? This guy's an idiot. And then he gets the submission and shuts my doubt down. So, unbelievable stuff. His striking looks improved. He's fast. The submission game is ridiculous. And Johnny Walker's brother, I mean, that's definitely going to help him become more popular just because it's interesting. Look, it's Johnny Walker's brother, right? But I'd like to see this guy get like a Marcin Tybura, honestly. I'd like to see him get a Marcin Tybura. I think he beats a Marcin Tybura, and we can't call him a blob anymore because those are not blob submissions. Oh, no. Should we do him versus Gaziev? I don't want that smoke. I don't want Valter Walker to destroy the leg of Shamil Gaziev. Gaziev needs it for volleyball. So either way, really impressive for Valter Walker. Mike Davis gets it done. Fatima Klein, Melissa Martinez. Great fight. Fatima Klein gets the KO. So I got that one wrong, but I didn't really care about the pick. Let's just say one wrong, one. Yeah, so I went 1 and 2, 2, 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 3, 4 and 3, 5 and 3, 6 and 3, 7 and 3, 7 and 4, 8 and 4. 8 and 4 on picks. Not terrible. Not terrible, but whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time.